Oh my god, hey! Welcome back to my kingdom of stagey isolation. If you are seeing my face for the first time, my name is Mickey Joe and I am obsessed with all things theatre. I am also part of the UK Squip Squad, which is a team of theatre vloggers and influencers who are working with the musical Be More Chill in the UK. And I'm so excited that even though its debut run at the Other Palace Theatre was cut short by COVID-19, Be More Chill will be transferring to the Shaftesbury Theatre in the West End this summer. While the cast are in rehearsals and everyone is getting ready to make this happen, I got to chat with the composer and lyricist Joe Iconis about the show, about how he has spent a year in lockdown, and about the hit song Michael in the Bathroom. Check it out. Folks, get ready for an interview with Joe Iconis talking COVID, Michael in the Bathroom, and Be More Chill. Hello. I'm still not showing my video. There we go. How have I not worked out Zoom yet? It's been a year. Oh my god, hey, Joe Iconis.
Oh my god, hey.
Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me this morning.
Yeah, of course. Pleasure to be here.
Everyone's really excited. I was so excited for the news that Be More Chill is going to be transferring to the West End. I know that all of the UK fans were as well. What was your reaction when you heard that news and found out that it was not only going to be coming back to London, but in a proper West End theatre?
Oh, I was, beyond thrilled. Like everyone, I was so bummed out when the Other Palace production was cut short because, we had just opened. Like we had only run a few weeks, and it felt like there was such great, love surrounding that production. And I feel like a lot of other people loved the cast so much. And it felt like, oh, this is going to be so exciting to see where this goes. And to have that, just stop for the wildest reason that any of us have ever experienced was just so sad. And so then to have it come back to the West End and at the Shaftesbury and at on the West End proper, it's so thrilling. But I always having a show play in London was always a dream of mine. I was a sort of ultimate theater kid, and so I very much felt like, theater, the sort of like the mecca of theater is Broadway and London. And so, being at the Other Palace, that was just as thrilling to me as, sort of a proper West End run. I just love the idea of human beings getting to see the show. So I'm thrilled about the West Endness, but actually most excited that we're playing at the theater where Rent was.
I was going to say the Shaftesbury was the London home for Rent. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, yeah. The history of that theater. It's so exciting to me.
I was just thinking back to the solo gig that you did at the Other Palace in sort of the week before Be More Chill was opening, and I remember that you had a cough, and I remember you joking to the audience and saying, "Don't worry, it's nothing topical," and everyone laughing. And then about 3 weeks later, the world ended.
The joke did not age well. Will probably not ever be used again. And I think, I do think that I had it at that time. I just had no idea. It's so wild how quickly it happened, right? Because at the time it truly felt like, this has nothing to do with, the this illness that we're hearing rumblings about. And then, just weeks later, it's crazy.
Yeah, and it was sort of this double-edged sword, because I remember thinking, I hope Be More Chill is in a small enough theatre that it can survive this, and then it became clear that just everything was going down. And then, weirdly, the fact that London's bigger shows are closing and not able to reopen in September is how Be More Chill is able to do a few months at the Shaftesbury in the summer. So it's all just such a weird and unprecedented time.
And I do think, Be More Chill, it's a show that from its inception, it kept coming back. It's a show that the show should have died in 2015, and much like a zombie, it keeps crawling out of the grave and coming back. You just can't keep it down. And so while I was so thrilled and shocked to hear that we were coming back to the West End, there was part of me that's like, yeah, that would happen with our our cockroach zombie of a show. You just can't keep it in the ground.
That's an excellent pull quote for the poster, I think.
Yeah.
What has the last year been like for you as a composer, living through all of it?
The things that were great about it was that I got to spend more time with my wife than I ever have in our entire relationship, because we're both she's an actor and also a writer and singer-songwriter, and I do all those things as well. And so it's like we're always all over the place, and it's it was like the first time where we got to be together in a sort of domestic situation and like make food and stuff and do all that. And so that was nice. And I was able to do some writing at the very top of the whole thing because I had sort of carved out these few months, like March and April 2020, to do just that. I had been sort of going nonstop for years, and March 2020, it was this like light at the end of the tunnel for me, where I was like, I'm gonna not be in rehearsal, I'm gonna not take any gigs, I'm going to be in my apartment and be in coffee shops and just work on deadlines. And so I was able to do that in my apartment. And then as soon as we got into like May, and as soon as it started feeling like, oh, this is something that's gonna last for a very long time, I feel like a darkness set in, and I hated it. It was so hard for me to write. I was not inspired to write anything new. I was not inspired to write anything about the pandemic. I didn't make any Zoom theater, and I tried a few times to do some live theater. It all fell apart. The experiences were bad. I am so happy that we're coming out on the other side of it. I'm so happy, and I'm already angry at people in the future who will be like, what was the best thing about you? And try to get me as an artist to talk about all these things I discovered about myself and my art form about the pandemic. And while sure there are things, I just refuse to participate in that. I hated it, and I'm glad it's over, and I want to get back on a stage right now.
It's funny because, and I know no one wants a COVID musical, and we shouldn't have a COVID musical, but I feel like if anyone was to write a COVID musical, you're so especially good lyrically at combining melancholia with this sort of strange, upbeat humour to it that I could super see that being something that you do.
Thank you. Thanks. I think that it's gonna find its way into my work, whether I want it to or not, because I'm a writer who cannot help but be inspired by the things around him and by my own mental state. And so it's gonna be in my work. And I know that in years, I'll look back at anything that I've created in the last year, and probably will create for the next couple of years, and be like, oh my God, I was just writing about COVID, wasn't I? But I think that I do not at this moment feel the urge to write a piece of theater that is specifically about the pandemic.
What do you think are the parts of Be More Chill as an existing show that are going to hit different because of the year that we've just had?
I mean, there's a lot in the show that's about people feeling isolated. There's a lot in the show about people feeling like they're not connecting to other humans, or not connecting to a larger thing, and people sort of being in their own spaces and sort of wanting to be together in a group. And the kind of like one way to kind of look at the journey of Be More Chill as a show is, we start with Jeremy like in his bedroom, and we see him in these spaces where he feels confined, and everything is like, the world is buzzing around him, and he feels like he's just sort of trapped. And obviously we have the character of Michael, he's trapped in a bathroom, and there's just a lot of that kind of this feeling of being constrained and being in your own little cell in the show. And then as the show goes on, we climax with a play where everyone has to be together and figure out how to get through life together. And then the finale is everyone essentially having a dance party together and hugging. And so it feels like there is a weird sort of like finding your way out of isolation and finding a community in both a figurative and literal sense in the show. So I think that will resonate. I mean, and I think Jeremy's dad in the show is basically agoraphobic. He doesn't leave the house. And so I think that we do have lots of things in the show that feel like they will be particularly resonant. And I know it's going to be one of those things where we're gonna I'm going to see it in front of an audience. People are going to have reactions that have to do with this collective thing that we've all lived through, and that I love. That's why we go to theater, for people to collectively hear something and all make the connection, like, oh my God, that's this is about us, even though we knew it was written years ago. So yeah, I think there's a bunch in the show. It's going to feel like that.
I remember thinking before that Jeremy's dad was just such a strange character, and he now makes perfect sense. I now understand him completely, and the choices that he make. And the Pants song came on shuffle the other day, and I was listening to it. I thought, this is completely different now, and I now understand it.
Yeah, no, I know. I feel like the world has had this forced experience of Jeremy's dad. And then also, it's such a real thing. I think people not knowing how to come out of quarantine and not and feeling like, oh, I'm supposed to be running in the streets and being like, now I can participate in my life again. But it's not that easy. It's hard, And so I think a lot of people are now struggling with this, like, how do I navigate life as it was after having this experience of, being a prisoner in my home for a year and a half, not wearing pants. And so I think that maybe it's the pants song. Maybe the pants song will be the one that will be the one that everyone will cry at.
It's now an emotional ballad moment. Yeah.
Very excited for musical theater leading ladies to cover the pants song at benefits.
Yeah, the pants song as sung by Bernadette Peters is going to be
very dramatically.
It's going to be fantastic. So we have to talk about Michael in the Bathroom, because as huge as the success of Be More Chill on both sides of the Atlantic has been, Michael in the Bathroom is just global musical theatre canon now in terms of the great contemporary musical theatre songs. What I want to know is, in terms of the writing process of Be More Chill, whenabouts did that song happen?
It happened early on. It wasn't, the first songs I ever wrote for Be More Chill were More Than Survive, and I wrote the script song, and I wrote a song called Touching My Hand that ended up getting cut. That was sort of my very first batch. And then I wrote a bunch of songs as kind of a second batch of songs all together. And that was I Love Play Rehearsal. I forget exactly what was in there, but Michael in the Bathroom was in there. It was in the kind of second batch. So it was sort of early on in the writing of the show. And when I read the book, initially I read the book with a mind towards musicalization, and I would make little notes and things. And when something popped out at me, and in the book, the scene with Michael in the bathroom is it's very different, and it doesn't take up the same amount of real estate in the novel as it does in the show. But just this idea of these friends having a fight in a bathroom at a house party, and then the one friend leaving and the other friend remaining, it just immediately struck me as oh, there's a song there. That should be a song. He should remain, and he should sing a song. And I think that the title Michael in the Bathroom just it came in that idea. It was, he should sing a song called Michael in the Bathroom in that moment. And sort of hand in hand with that, I immediately got excited about the type of song I wanted it to be, because I loved the character of Michael so much, and I thought that he really checked all the boxes as a kind of kooky sidekick. He was very much in the mold of the stoner best friend character that we see constantly in film and TV and musicals. The funny one who doesn't look like a leading man, who has to play the best friend. And so I thought, it would be so exciting to give him a song here that is actually a real song that talks about what he, as the best friend in this musical, but also as the best friend character, is going through. And the song that felt like it was surprising, because normally in a musical, a character like that would never get a song that was as operatic as Michael in the Bathroom, that was as huge, that took up as much real estate. And I was that's what I want to do. And as much as, all of my work is kind of about celebrating people who feel like misfits, but that's so much what Be More Chill is about. And it felt what better way to put my money where my mouth is than give this huge, massive panic attack of a song to the best friend character instead of the leading man of the musical. And so it all kind of came at that whole idea came at one time. And so when I was writing Michael in the Bathroom, I kind of knew what I wanted it to be, and I knew I wanted it to feel huge. I wanted it to feel like a monologue. I wanted it to go, as deep as it could possibly go. And by the initial version of that song that I wrote, it's almost identical to what is currently, the song. The only thing that changed in that song is there was a little half verse after the bridge that we cut, because we didn't need it along the way. So it's a little transitional bit that we don't need. But that was it. Nothing else changed about the song. It just kind of arrived fully formed.
I remember reading something that you'd written for, I think it was on Playbill, sort of analysing when one of the cast recordings had come out, talking about how every character in this show would have their own Michael in the bathroom moment, even though it happens off stage. I didn't know if you wanted to talk a little bit more about that.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that, and again, this just sort of goes back to the way that I think about art and the way that I think about characters. But it bugs me, in musicals specifically. I feel like musicals are really rigid in their structure and their dramaturgy, and musicals, and certainly in America, the people who are given a platform to tell others if the musical is good or bad, the things that they use for the most part to decide if a musical is good or bad is this sort of very traditional structure where the main character gets this type of song and the romantic lead gets this type of song. And so I always feel like, what about all these other characters? Why just because this character is supposed to play the supposed to fit into the box of like secondary romantic lead, why don't we get to hear when they're upset about something, or like, why don't we get to hear about some internal conflict that they have? And so I always think, whenever I write anything, that anytime a character is walking off stage, I always imagine them just walking onto another stage where they're the star of that show. It's like we just happen to be seeing them in this frame that is the frame of our in this case, leading man. It's the frame of our story. So we're just getting these characters who are intersecting with the our lead character story, but they all have their own lives. And so yeah, absolutely. In the 10-hour version of Be More Chill, every single character would get their own Michael in the bathroom, and I think that's what life is. It's like people don't fit into boxes, and if we have our crazy best friend who in our lives is like, oh, that's our crazy best friend. We don't know what they are going through when they're alone at home, and so that sort of stuff I just find fascinating. And so I'm not out of my mind, and so I don't think that Be More Chill should be 10 hours long, and I don't think that everyone should necessarily have we shouldn't have a Brooke in the bathroom or a Chloe in the bathroom, even though I would be obsessed with that. So to me, the Michael in the bathroom is the swipe towards that idea of like, we know that everyone here has got their own problems. And we know that this show is it's dealing with heavy issues, but it is a teen sci-fi comedy, and so we're operating in that world and with that language, but we are aware that these people have actual real problems. And so that's what I think Michael in the bathroom is doing or trying to do.
I'm obsessed with the idea of a Chloe in the bathroom and what that would even sound like, because I'm now just hearing like if Michael in the bathroom was sung by Britney Spears, and just the concept.
It would be, that's exactly what it would be. I think that Chloe in the bathroom would just be Britney Spears' Instagram presence.
Yeah.
That's what it would be. But that's also that's the truth, and that's what I see. I see, so many things, especially things about young people. And, and if it's stylized and the writing is great, and yeah, it's all good. There's just so much stuff where it feels like the characters are one-dimensional, and it's like this idea of the nerd and the hot girl, and it's maybe that's how it is in high school, but like I'm certainly not of high school age, but even when I was in high school, it wasn't like it's not like that. It's just not. It's never as clean as that. And it's always messy, and you don't never know what's going on in people's lives. And also it's, I'm someone who I'm using the language of high school to write about issues that I think everyone deals with, and that's the number one comment about Michael in the bathroom. People who are not high school age always say, oh my gosh, I feel like there's just like a pigeon. It was terrifying. Oh man. The pigeon was just as surprised by me as I was by her. But so many people who are not teenagers hear Michael in the bathroom and they say, oh, I felt like that. I have felt that's, I've been at a work function or, a party or whatever. And I felt this anxiety, and I feel like you were writing about me. Isn't that weird? And I'm always like, well, no, because I'm writing about myself. I'm writing about something that I think is not specific to high school. I'm just using the language of high school, and I think it's funny too, because it's, so much has been sort of, written, a lot of the negative things that have been written about Be More Chill kind of cast it off as like, it's a show for kids. It's about kids, it's for kids. And and I understand why people say that, because young people like it, which I actually think is a really exciting thing. For me, it's like we can watch a musical like like Les Mis, and we can hear the song On My Own, and we can apply that song to our own lives, and people can find things that resonate about it, and they can feel like, oh, that song is about me. And we don't seem to have the same trouble as we do with shows about teenagers. But for some reason, people act like they've never been teenagers, and I guess that means that they have been, street waifs in the French Revolution. It's like, why can we make believe there? Yeah. Why can we be like, oh, like the Phantom of the Opera is so heartbreaking. I felt like that, but we can't be like, oh, this teenager. I can't possibly imagine what that feels like. It's such a strange thing to me. Which is just to say that I think that the stuff in the song is universal, and even though it's written in the language of teenager, my hope is that it's something that connects with people of all ages.
It absolutely does. Do you have a favorite lyric in the song, or is that like asking you to choose between like children?
My favorite is it's when the lyric runs out. He says, "There's no denying I'm just," and he kind of like mumbles a little bit, and then it's just the music. It's just do 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 do, and I love that because I really enjoy using musical theater to dramatize when people's vocabulary runs out, and I think there's this idea of, the classic idea for musicals is like people start singing when they have too many emotions to speak, so they have to burst into song. I think that's true sometimes, but I also think that sometimes, music can be used to show someone working something out, and I love when they don't have the words, even in music. Even in a musical, they don't have the actual words to describe exactly what they're feeling, and the music itself just kind of takes over. And so I really like that. And in the show, I always kind of imagine in that moment, he's singing into a mirror, literally. I think that's literally what's happening. And in that moment when his words run out, I think his words kind of run out because I think that literally is happening is he's seeing himself. He's seeing the reflection of himself, probably for the first time. He's really looking at this, mess that he is in the bathroom. But I think the part B of that is that he can also sense the people in the audience looking back at him through that mirror. I think he actually feels eyes of onlookers staring at him, and I think that he's understanding what he must look like to people, and these people, all they know of him is just he's this like sad chubby kid crying in the bathroom, and how pathetic that is, and he can like feel it, and so that's why he just has no words, in that moment. And so I'm really proud of that lyric that's not a lyric. But I in addition to that, I also really like oh my gosh, I'm creating my own lyrics, but I'd rather fake pee than stand awkwardly or pretend to check text on my phone. I just like it because I think it is 100% honest, and it's like a line that's a little bit funny, and I think we are also conditioned to hear songs and receive them either as songs that are serious or songs that are comedy songs, and I like that it's a sort of goofy, a goofy, surprisingly frank, kind of funny line in the middle of a moment that is super serious, because that also feels true to life, and I think that it's just exactly what he would think and say. So I like that. If I had to choose a lyric that was actually a lyric and not a lack of lyric.
My favorite lyric in it is similar to that, because I'm obsessed with picking a grout as I softly grieve, just because the juxtaposition of taking the concept of grief with softly and just the way that it falls on the melody is just so ridiculously comical. Thanks. Yeah, I'm glad. I love that you said that. I'm really obsessed with especially young people. When I was young, I just felt like I still do this, but I was always just sort of like I was always like, ripping things and picking at things, and I think it's something that we all do. I think we like, or I was like a big just like mindless doodler, and I love like, I think that it's not a thing that's specific to young people. It's I think a lot of times in life, as we're working out things,
or dealing with things, we naturally are trying to occupy ourselves with an action. And and I'm just like, fascinated by literally what that is, and I think about all the times in my life when I've been dealing with, people I've loved who have died, or disasters in my career or whatever. It's like, I'm probably like going through the worst moments of my life and then like ripping apart a fake flower with one hand and didn't even realize it,
Speaking of sort of the tone of the song and how you combine those two things, I'm fascinated by the orchestration and how peppy it is and how sort of ironic the whole thing is. And that was a deliberate choice, right?
Yeah, for sure. We the orchestration for Michael in the Bathroom, it was one of the sort of longest processes we had, just to kind of get it right, because I knew that I wanted to play against the emotion of the song. I thought that it would be really exciting to have an orchestration that felt like it was kind of at odds with the turmoil that this guy was going through. It was sort of less interesting to me to do the version of it where you could just hear the music and know like, oh, this is a very serious song. This is a song about a panic attack. I wanted the music to feel like the music of the party, and I wanted the music to feel like, almost celebratory or something. It's both it's a slap in the face to this guy who's going through something, but also it's what he's trying to work through. It's like he is combating this idea of like, oh, I have to present as shiny and happy, and if I want to escape this party unscathed. And I think he's trying to, the whole song too is about, so much of it is about him, being like, whatever, it's no big deal. I'm not really upset. Maybe I'm a little upset, but I'm not really upset. And so to me also that music is doing that, the music is him faking it. And so then I think when you get to the second half of the song and where the lyric runs out and we get a little bit more melodramatic, the orchestration like wears its heart on its sleeve a little bit more, I think then that's earned, because he's gone through this thing where he has something to fight against, as opposed to it being cellos and violins and these instruments and these sounds that we associate with, oh, this song is sad, so we have to hear these instruments,
Yeah. And what you end up creating is the saddest song ever to end with a cha-cha-cha, I think.
Thank you so much. I'm so proud of it. I would absolutely take that, and I kind of agree. And it's also, I think that the cha-cha-cha at the end of it is it's definitely a sarcastic cha-cha-cha. I think it's both a terribly sad and an incredibly sarcastic cha-cha-cha. And it's that, and that to me also is like that is life. I think if you have a panic attack in a bathroom at a party and you pull yourself together, I don't think that the end of that is a triumphant big note that brings down the house. I think the end of that is great party, man. And that's what I was trying to convey.
I'm so glad I came deliberately a Follies reference, because you wrote that it was. I was curious as to whether that was something that was deliberate or after an afterthought is, oh, that's the same as Follies.
Definitely an afterthought. It felt so correct at the time. Like it was just one of those things that it just presented itself. Like it was just, oh, this is what the last line of the song is. Like, awesome party, I'm so glad I came. Like that was it. Like it was just there. And it wasn't until after that I realized it's literally a line from Follies. But part of me also is, I always think like, is Michael aware that it's a line from Follies? Is it like, is he doing that? Did Michael have to be in a production of Follies at the community theater? Did his moms make him be in Follies and he hated it so much? And he just, and that's why he has that line at his fingertips. I don't know, but I like thinking about it.
I'm just laughing because I've written down here as a note of one of my questions, original melody versus George Salazar, which makes it sound like it's sort of a cage fight. But I was curious, in terms of your writing process, where performers then take things and make choices, I was wondering how much of the original melody is completely as written and how much of what people now do every time they sing Mike in the Bathroom is based on sort of George's interpretation of that first recording.
It's hard to say, because I I write knowing that I will eventually work with an actor and the song will be wrapped around that actor's interpretation. Sometimes that results in the song kind of sounding exactly the same as when I first wrote it. Every note is the same, every rhythm is the same, and the actor it's about their performance. Other times, the actor kind of changes the DNA of the song. And I think that's sort of what has happened with Michael in the Bathroom. You know, George's vocal choices, while he doesn't really deviate all that much from what was on my original demo, he definitely has vocal choices that are informed by his acting choices that now have like turned into the melody of the song. And so now it's so funny when I see, you know, people who I haven't worked with do like George's vocal choices without the acting choice. And that's where it's like, that's the thing of musical theater. I'm not a huge fan of musical theater of just sort of like singing high for the, you know, for the thrill of it. Or I'm not a big like, oh my God, can you believe she hit that A person? I get excited by thrilling singing, but I only get excited when it is based in some kind of, you know, dramaturgical sense or some sort of performative thing. And so, you know, George's interpretation of the song is very much that. It's the, you know, it's about phrasing, and he definitely, you know, there's some like little embellishments, but he also is, you know, he's just such a great actor. So he can, you know, he's someone who like, he sing that song, and it's, you know, it's not all that different, but it feels like, oh, the song was born from him. You know, it feels like this song was written by him. It feels like it's coming out of his mouth in real time, and so that really shaped it. You know, the Blake who plays Michael in London. I obviously got to work with him as we were, you know, in rehearsals for The Other Palace, and so Blake's interpretation of the song is very much his own, which is what I want. You know, I want every Michael who plays. You know, every Michael who sings that song to have their own take on it. And I think sometimes that means, oh, the notes might change a little bit, or the rhythms might change a little bit, but that's always my hope, you know, and that's my hope with everything and any show. I think that the actor should be the one to inform some of the choices. I mean, I don't think that people should, you know, be playing roles and like making up their own tunes or, you know, inserting songs from other musicals in. But I love when a song sounds different based on who's singing it, always.
Based on that idea, if there was ever, and we can only hope, a Hamilton mixtape style album of Be More Chill songs, who would be your dream artist to sing Michael in the Bathroom?
Oh my gosh. This is a great question that I can't believe no one has ever asked me. Who would be my dream artist to sing Michael? Okay, so I'm gonna go 100% away from any kind of theater thing, right? So like no theater people, no actors. I'm gonna say, oh, Fiona Apple. Done.
Okay.
I would like to hear Fiona Apple, Michael in the Bathroom.
Very interesting choice. Now I want to hear the Be More Chill mixtape.
I know. I want to do it with all my shows so bad.
I feel like somehow Eminem has to be a part of it as well.
Oh yeah, script song.
Yeah.
Would kill it.
I'm sure he'd be thrilled. I'm sure he's definitely had to.
Yeah, one of the great mysteries of my life is if Eminem has ever heard of the show. I know that at some point someone was like, "Hey Eminem, you know that there's this musical and you get killed in it?" And he was probably like, "I don't care about that." But I just want to know the day when Eminem realizes like how big a thing this is and he is in it, because I don't think he does.
Hopefully, I'm sure he knows. He'll find out. Anyway,
find out one day. Yeah.
Thank you so much for speaking to me today. Break a leg for your 54 Below gig, and hopefully you get to come over and see Be More Chill in the West End at some point.
Hopefully. Cross your fingers, please.
Hopefully. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. It was lovely to speak to you.
Of course. Lovely speaking to you too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for watching today's video and my interview with the amazing Joe Iconis. If there's any content you would like to see from the upcoming West End production of Be More Chill, let me know in the comments section down below and I will do my best to make those videos. If you're a Be More Chill fan or you know any Be More Chill fans, make sure you subscribe to my channel for lots of upcoming Script Squad content. Also, if you would like to help support me as a stagey content creator, head over to patreon.com/OHMYGOD. Mickey Joe Theatre, where for a variety of membership prices, you can support me and get access to all sorts of extra videos, extended videos, as well as bonus photo shoots of my musical theatre cosplays. If that's something you like, it's up to you. I hope that everyone is staying safe and that you have a stagey day. For 10 more seconds, I'm Mickey Joe Theatre. Oh my god, hey, thanks for watching, have a stagey day. Subscribe!